I bet you're worried.
Oh, we were worried.
We were worried about vaginas.
We are worried about what we think about vaginas, and even more worried that we don't think about them. We are worried about our own vaginas. They needed a context of other vaginas, a community, a culture of vaginas. There's so much darkness and secrecy surrounding them. They're like the Bermuda Triangle. No one ever reports back from there.
First of all, it's not even easy to find your vagina. Women go weeks, months, sometimes years without ever even looking at it. A high-powered businesswoman was interviewed, and she said she didn't have time to look at her vagina. She was too busy. So she said, looking at your vagina takes a full day's work. You have to get down on your back, in front of a mirror, full length preferred, perfect lighting, in the perfect position, you get all twisted out. And by then your back is aching and you're over it. She said she didn't have time for all that.
So there were vagina interviews, which became Vagina Monologues. Over 200 women were interviewed. Old women, young women, married women, single women, lesbians, college professors, actors, young professionals, sex workers, African American women, Hispanic women, Asian American women, Caucasian women, Native American women, Jewish women. Okay, at first women were reluctant to talk. I mean, they were a little shy. But once they got going, you couldn't stop them. Women love to talk about their vaginas. They get very excited, mainly because no one's asked them before.
Let's just start with the word, vagina. It sounds like an infection. At best, maybe a medical instrument. Hurry, nurse, bring me the vagina. 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 Doesn't matter how many times you say it, it never sounds like a word you actually want to say. It's totally ridiculous, completely unsexy. And if you try to use it during sex, it kills the act right there. Darling, could you stroke my vagina?
We're worried about what you call vaginas and what you don't call them.
In Great Neck, they call it pussycat. A woman there said that her mom used to tell her, don't wear panties underneath your pajamas. Like, dear, you need to air out your pussycat.
In Westchester, they call it a pookie.
In New Jersey, it's a twat.
There's power box, a poochie, a poopy, a peepee, a panani, a poopaloo, a pal, and a peach egg.
Toady, Dee, Nishi, Dignity, Monkey Box.
A coochie snorcher, cookie, and lade.
Gladys, Siegelman.
VA, Wee Wee, Horse Spot, Nappy Dugout.
Mungo, mookie, a pajama, fanny boo, and marshmallow.
A ghoulie, a possible, tamale, Tita, and Connie.
A Mimi in Miami.
A Schmishmish in Philadelphia.
And Shmen in the Bronx.
We're worried about vaginas.
So some of these monologues are based on one woman's story, and some of them are based on several women's stories surrounding the same thing. This monologue is based on one woman's story, although the same theme appeared in every interview that was had. The subject being
hair. You have to love hair to love the vagina. Not everybody loves hair. My first and only husband did not love hair. He thought it was dirty and crowded. He asked me to shave my vagina. When I shaved my vagina, it looked puffy and naked, like a little girl. But this excited him. Later, when we were making love, it felt like scratching a beard. How scratching a beard must feel. It felt good to scratch it, but it also felt painful, you know, kind of like scratching a mosquito bite, and it was covered in all of these little red bumps. Anyway, I didn't shave my vagina again. But then my husband had an affair. So we went to marriage therapy, and he said he was screwing around because I wouldn't please him sexually. I wouldn't shave my vagina. Now, the therapist, she was this stern German woman with a very thick accent. And she liked to gasp in between sentences just to show her empathy. First thing she says to me, "Why don't you want to please your husband?" I said, I think it's weird. When I'm naked down there, I feel little, like a little girl, and you know, it gets all covered in these little bumps, and it feels like it's on fire, and even calamine lotion won't put it out. And she stopped me. She said, "Marriage takes compromise." Really? Do you think me shaving my vagina is going to stop my husband from sleeping around? Have you had other cases like this before, and has this worked? She told me, questions inhibit the process.
Oh, wow.
You've just got to dive right in. She said she was sure this would be a good beginning. So, that night, my husband got to shave my vagina. It was like a therapy bonus prize. And as he was doing it, he clipped my skin a little bit. And there was a little bit of blood in the bathtub. But he didn't care. He was so happy shaving my vagina. And later, when he was pressing against me, my puffy vagina, his prickliness, I could feel it. It was naked and puffy and all alone. It didn't have any protection. There was no fluff. It was then that I realized that hair has a purpose. It's the leaf around the flower. It's the lawn around the house. You can't love a vagina without loving hair. You can't love just one part of the vagina. And anyway, my husband never stopped cheating around.
All of the women were asked the following question.
What would your vagina wear?
A beret, a leather jacket, mink, silk stockings.
Something form-fitting. Emeralds. An evening gown. Sequins.
Armani only.
A tutu. See-through black underwear. A taffeta ball gown.
Something machine washable.
Costume eye mask, purple velvet pajamas, angora, a red bow, Armani pearls.
A leopard hat. A silk kimono. Sweatpants. A tattoo.
An electric shock device to keep unwanted strangers away.
High heels, lace and combat boots, purple feather twigs, shells, cotton.
A pinafore.
A bikini.
A slicker,
If your vagina could talk, what would it say? 2 words.
slow down.
Is that you?
Feed me. I want. Yum yum. Oh yeah.
Start again. No. Over there.
Lick me. Stay home. Brave choice.
Think again. More, please. Embrace me.
Let's play. Don't stop. More, more. Remember me? Come inside. Not yet. Whoa, mama. Yes, yes. Rock me.
Enter at your own risk.
Oh God. Thank God. I'm here. Let's go. Let's go. Yum. Yum.
Thank you. Bonjour. Too hard. Don't give up.
So where's Brian? That's better. Yes, there. There.
Because I'm out as a trans woman, there's one question that follows me everywhere I go. You know, inquiring minds want to know, have I gone all the way? You know, have I had the surgery? And to me, it feels like it feels like a no-winning position. I mean, if I tell the truth, no, not yet, then I get to deal with everyone else's emotional baggage. I mean, because nothing makes people more paranoid than a real-life female with a phallus. And, you know, straight men shaking their boots about the possibility that they might find me attractive. And people who control those women-only spaces are often dead set on discriminating against me, based on this ridiculous idea that my girly little estrogenized penis is somehow still filled with pulsating hypermasculine energy. On the other hand, having the operation has its own stigma attached to it. No medical methodology induces as much fear as SRS, you know, sex reassignment surgery. A friend told me that he once saw SRS in a video, Faces of Death, sandwiched between real-life shark attacks and a murder attempt. Like, some people go as far as to call SRS a form of self-mutilation, conveniently ignoring the fact that simple procedures like a nose job and liposuction similarly involve a small removal of non-essential tissue. Most people are surprised when I tell them that the doctors don't actually cut off the penis. They turn it inside out, you know, move nerve endings around to make a realistic looking clitoris and vagina. At that point, I am invariably asked if I want to have SRS so I can have sex with a man. And you should see the blank stares at people's faces when I tell them no. But I'm really looking forward to having my wife fuck me with a strap-on dildo. See, we live in a phallus-obsessed culture where we're all brought up to believe that everything having to do with gender and sexuality somehow revolves around the penis. And, you know, that's why so many clueless straight guys come onto dykes with pickup lines like, once you've had the real thing, baby, you won't ever go back. I mean, guys actually fall for that phallocentric crap. And, you know, this is, like, my desire to have SRS surgery has nothing to do with your penis. Like, this is why we can't even talk about, like, trans women and SRS without the conversation centering around the penis. This is me wanting to have a clitoris and vagina. But we don't have the language to describe to describe this desire. It's the ultimate Freudian slip. We naturally assume that girls grow up with this penis envy, but we can't imagine boys having the same, having its polar opposite. It's all in the words we use. When we tell someone that they're brave, we say they have balls. While words like pussy and cunt are only ever spoken as insults. And while everyone seems to understand how the penis works, we treat female genitalia like it's a magic black box. Most young women aren't even taught the names of all their own body parts. Most are unaware that the clitoris even exists. And as for the vagina, well, we're just all taught that it's a hole where the penis goes into. So it's no wonder that most people assume that I must be mentally ill. Because in this culture, wanting to be a woman is something that most people literally can't even imagine. And when I do have SRS, my surgically deconstructed genitals will no doubt be seen by some as an abomination or a blasphemy. I mean, my cunt is going to be the ultimate question mark. How powerful can a penis really be if a sane and smart person like me decides that she can do without it? And if the world supposedly revolves around the penis, then my SRS will knock it off its axis. And phallic symbols everywhere will come crashing down nothing like a house of cards. I mean, after all, a cigar is simply just a cigar. And I am simply me. And I'm fed up with other people projecting their penis obsession onto my body. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if they can't fathom why I might want to trade in my penis for a clitoris and a vagina, then they're the ones who have the gender disorder.
My vagina is a shell. A round, pink, tender shell. Opening and closing. Closing and opening. My vagina is a tulip. An eccentric flower. The center acute, deep. The scent delicate, the petals gentle, sturdy. I did not know this. I learned this at the Vagina workshop. Well, I learned this from the woman who runs the Vagina workshop, a woman who believes in vaginas, a woman who really sees vaginas. A woman who helps other women see their vaginas by looking at other women's vaginas. The woman who runs the workshop in the first session asked us to draw a picture of our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vagina. That's what she called it. She wanted to know what our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vagina looked like to us. One woman who was pregnant drew a big red mouth screaming with coins spilling out of it. Another very skinny woman drew sort of a serving plate with a Devonshire pattern on it. I drew a big black dot with little squiggly lines around it. The black dot was meant to represent a hole in space, and squiggly lines were meant to be the things or people or just general atoms that get lost there. I had always thought of my vagina as a sort of anatomical vacuum, randomly sucking up particles and things as it went. I do not think of my vagina in practical or biological terms. I do not, for example, see it as something attached to me. In the workshop, we were asked to look at our vaginas with a hand mirror. Then, after careful examination, we were to verbally report to the group what we saw. I must tell you that up until then, everything I knew about my vagina was based on hearsay or intervention. I had never actually seen the thing. It never occurred to me to look at it. My vagina existed for me on some abstract plane. It seemed so reductive and awkward to look at it the way we were in the workshop, on our little blue mats, our hand mirrors. It reminded me of what the early astronomers must have felt when they looked through their telescopes. I found it quite unsettling at first, my vagina. Like, the first time you cut open a fish, and you discover this raw, bloody world right there, right under the skin. It was so raw, so fresh. And the thing that surprised me the most was all the layers. Layers upon layers. Opening into more layers. My vagina amazed me. I couldn't speak when it came my turn to talk. I was speechless. I had awakened to what the woman who runs the vagina workshop called vaginal wonder. I just wanted to lay there on my blue mat, my legs spread open, examining my vagina forever. It was better than the Grand Canyon. Ancient and full of grace. It had the innocence and freshness of a proper English garden. And it was funny. Very funny. It could play hide and seek. Open, close. Close and opening. Then the woman who runs the workshop asked how many of us had had orgasms. 2 women tentatively raised their hand. I did not raise my hand, but I had had orgasms. I did not raise my hand because although I had had orgasms, I did not know how to make one happen. Orgasms were something that happened to me. They happened in my dreams, and I would awake in splendor. They happen a lot in water, mostly in the bath, once in Cape Cod. They happen on bicycles, on horses, on treadmills at the gym. I did not raise my hand because I did not know how to make one of these things happen. I thought it was a mystical, magical thing. I didn't want to interfere. It felt wrong getting involved. Contrived and manipulative. It felt Hollywood. The surprise would be gone, and the mystery. The problem, of course, was that the surprise had been gone for 2 years. I had not had a magical, mystical surprise orgasm in a long time, and I was frantic. That's why I was in the vagina workshop. And then the moment that I had both dreaded and longed for happened. The woman who runs the workshop asked us to grab our hand mirrors again and see if we could locate our clitoris. We were there, a group of us women, on our backs, on our mats, searching for our spot, our locus, our reason. And I don't know why, but I started crying. Maybe it was just sheer embarrassment. But maybe it was that I finally had to give up the enormous, life-consuming fantasy that someone was gonna do this for me. That someone was gonna come into my life, take my hand, choose direction, give me orgasms. The simultaneous terror, I could feel the panic coming. Simultaneous terror and realization that I had avoided finding my clitoris, had rationalized it as mainstream and consumerist, because I, in fact, was afraid that I did not have a clitoris. In fact, I was terrified that I was one of those constitutionally incapable, one of those frigid, dead, dry, shut-out, apricot tasting. Oh my God. I lay there on my mat looking for my spot, reaching with my fingers, and all I could think about was the time when I was 12 and I lost my ring with the emeralds on the bottom of the lake, how I kept diving over and over again, rubbing my hands over stones and fish, and bottle caps and slimy stuff, but never my ring. The panic I felt, I knew I'd been punished. The woman who ran the workshop saw my insane scrambling and sweating and heavy breathing, and she came running over, and I told her, it's gone, I lost my clitoris, I should have went swimming. The woman who ran the workshop laughed. She told me my clitoris was not something I could lose. It was me, she said. The essence of me. It was both the doorbell to the house and the house itself. I did not have to find my clitoris. I had to be my clitoris. Be it. Be my clitoris. Be my clitoris. I lay back and I closed my eyes. I put the hand mirror down. I watched myself floating above myself. I watched as I slowly began to approach myself and re-enter. I felt like an astronaut re-entering the surface of the earth. It was quiet at first, this re-entry, quiet and gentle. I bounced and landed and bounced. I came into my own muscle and blood and cells, and then I slid into my vagina. It was subtly easy in my fit. I was all warm and pulsing and ready and young and alive. And then, without looking, with my eyes still closed, I suddenly put my finger on what had become me. There was a little quivering at first, which urged me to stay. And then the quivering became a quake, an eruption. The layers dividing and subdividing. The quaking broke open into an ancient horizon of light and silence, which opened into a plane of music and colors and innocence and longing, and I felt connection, calling connection as I lay there thrashing about my little blue mat. My vagina is a shell, a tulip, and a destiny. I am arriving as I am beginning to live. My vagina. My vagina. Me.
Here is a vagina happy fact from Woman in Geography by Natalie and Gier. The clitoris is pure in purpose. It is the only organ in the body designed purely for pleasure. This clitoris is simply a bundle of nerves, 8,000 nerve fibers to be precise. That's more nerves in either the male or female body. That's more than the tongue, that's more than the fingertips, that's more than the lips, and it is twice the number that is in the penis. Who needs a handgun when you got a semi-automatic?
This monologue is based on an interview with a woman who had a good experience with a man.
This is how I came to love my vagina. It's embarrassing because it's not politically correct. I mean, I know how it should have happened. In a bath with salt grain from the Dead Sea, Enya playing, me loving my woman self. I know all of it. Our self-hatred is only the internalized repression and hatred of the patriarchal society. Pussies unite! I know the story. Like, if we had grown up in a culture where we were taught fat size were beautiful, we'd all be pounding down milkshakes and donuts, spending our days lying on our backs, size expanding. But we didn't grow up in that culture, did we? I hated my thighs. And I hated my vagina even more. I thought it was incredibly heavy. I was one of those women who had looked at it, and from this moment on, I wish I hadn't. I pitied anyone who had to go down there. In order to survive, I began to pretend there was something else in between my legs. I imagined furniture. Cozy, futon comforters, little velvet settees, or pretty things, silk undercliffs, quilted pot holders. Whenever a man was inside me, I imagined mean Klein muffler or a Chinese doll. Then I met Bob. Bob was the most ordinary man I've ever met. He was thin and tall and nondescript and wore khaki tan clothes. Bob didn't like spicy food or listen to Prince. He had no interest in sexy laundry. In the summer, he spent time in the shade. He didn't share his inner feelings, he didn't have any problems or issues. He was not even an alcoholic. He wasn't very funny or articulate. He wasn't mean or unavailable. He didn't drive fast. I didn't particularly like Bob. I would have missed him altogether if he hadn't picked up the chance that I dropped on the day floor. When he handed me back my quarters and pennies and his hand accidentally touched mine, something happened. I went to bed with him. That's when the miracle occurred. Turned out Bob loved vaginas. He was a connoisseur. He loved the way they felt, the way they smelled, the way they tasted, but most importantly, he loved the way they looked. He had to look at them. The first time we had sex, he told me he had to see me. I'm right here, Bob. Right here. No. I need to see you. Turn on the light, I said. I was a weirdo and freaking out in the dark. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to see you. Right here, Bob. No. You know, then he began to undress me. What are you doing, Bob? I need to see you, he replied. No need, I said. Just do it. I need to see what you look like. But seen a red leather coat before. I know you have, Bob. Bob continues. He wouldn't stop. I wanted to throw up and die. This is awfully intimate, I said. Can't you just do it? No, he said. It's who you are. I need to look. I held my breath. Looked and looked. Gasped and smiled. Groaned and stared. He got pretty and his face changed. Didn't look ordinary anymore. Looked like a hungry beast. You're so beautiful, he said. You're elegant and deep and innocent, wild. So that there, I think. I thought that, and much, much more. He stayed looking for almost an hour, as if he was studying a map, staring into my eyes, observing the moon. But it was my vagina. In the light, I watched him looking at me. And he was so genuinely excited, so peaceful and euphoric. I began to get wet and turned on. I began to see myself the way he saw me. I began to feel beautiful, like a great painting or a waterfall. Bob wasn't afraid. He wasn't grossed out. I began to swell. I began to feel proud. I began to love my vagina. And Bob lost himself there. And I was there with him in my vagina, and we were gone.
This is a not-so-happy fact found in the New York Times, April 1996. Genital mutilation has been inflicted on 80 to 100 million girls and young women. In countries where it is practiced, mostly in Africa, about 2 million youngsters can expect the knife a year, or the razor, or a glass shard, to cut their clitoris and remove it altogether. In a man, it would range from amputation of most of the penis to removal of all of the penis. Short-term results include tetanus, hemorrhages, cuts in the urethra, bladder and vaginal walls. Long-term, chronic uterine infection, increased agony and danger during childbirth, and early deaths.
Bosnian women and refugees were interviewed during the War of Yugoslavia in refugee camps and centers. 20 to 70,000 women were raped in the middle of Europe as a systematic tactic of war. It was shocking to see how little anyone did about it. But then again, in this country, in 1 year, over 500,000 women are raped. And theoretically, we're not at war. This monologue is based on one woman's story. She was a Muslim, as were many of the women interviewed. Rape had never been a part of their communities before the war. We do tonight for this woman and for the women of Bosnia and Kosovo.
My vagina was green, water soft, pink fields, cows mooing, sun resting, sweet boyfriend, touching lightly with soft piece of blonde straw. There is something between my legs. I do not know what it is. I do not know where it is. I do not touch. Not now. Not since. My vagina was chatty. Can't wait. So much saying words. Can't quit talking. Can't quit trying. Can't quit saying, oh yes, Oh, yes. Not since I dreamed there's a dead animal sewn in between my legs, with thick black fishing line. And the bad dead animal smell cannot be removed. And its throat is slit, and it bleeds through all my summer dresses. My vagina singing all girl songs, all autumn field songs, all vagina, all goat bell ringing songs, all wild autumn field songs, vagina home songs. Not since soldiers put a long, thick rifle inside of me. So cold, the steel rod canceling my heart. I'm not sure whether to shoot it or shove it through my spinning brain. Six of them, monstrous doctors with black masks, shoving bottles at me too. There were sticks and the end of a broom. My vagina swimming river water, clean spilling water. Over sun-baked stones, over stone clit, over clit stones, over and over. Not since I heard the skin tear and make lemon screeching sounds. Not since a piece of my vagina came off in my hand. Part of the lip is completely gone. One side of the lip is completely gone. My vagina, alive, wet water village. My vagina. My hometown. Not since they took turns for 7 days smelling like feces and smoked meat. They left their dirty sperm inside of me. I became a river of poison and pus. And all the crops died. And the fish. My vagina. Alive, wet water village. They invaded it. They butchered it and burned it down. I do not touch now. I do not visit. I live someplace else now. I don't know where that is.
My vagina is angry. Mhm. Yeah, she's pissed. She is freaking furious, and she's gonna tell you all about it. Mhm. Like, what is the deal? Is there literally some kind of committee that sits around and thinks up ideas about how to torture my poor, loving, gentle vagina? Is there literally some kind of army that constructs these crazy psycho products and nasty ideas to undermine my pussy? Vagina, motherfuckers. Like, seriously, there's all these ideas. We've got to shove stuff up there. We've got to clean it up. We've got to make it go away. My vagina is not going away. She's pissed off. She's staying right here. Let's start with tampons. What's the deal with tampons? A dry wad of fucking cotton? Are you kidding me? My vagina goes into shock when I pull those puppies out. She's like, nah, not this month. Closing up shop, closed for business. It's like, could we not at least find a way to subtly lubricate the tampon? You've got to work with the vagina. You've got to kind of introduce things to her slowly, warm her up to things, seduce the vagina. That's what foreplay is all about. You can't do that with a wad of fucking cotton. It's all about like these things that we're supposed to shove up there and clean it all up. My vagina does not need to be cleaned up. She smells good already. And don't believe him when he tells you that it smells like rose petals. It doesn't. It smells like a pussy. And it's supposed to smell like a pussy. But there's this barrage of cleaning products, right? It's like feminine hygiene stuff, the douche sprays, the intimate wash. It's like they want to clean it all up and make it smell like berries and rain. I don't want my pussy to smell like berries or rain. It's like all cleaned up. It's like washing a fish that you just spent an hour cooking. I want to taste the fish. That's why I ordered it. And those exams? Don't even get me started about those exams. What is the deal? And they've got those scary paper dresses and they scratch your tits and the squeaky gloves and they're all up there with the flashlight like Nancy Drew and these crazy like Nazi stirrups. Those mean, cold ducklets that they try and shut up you. God. My vagina is traumatized about those exams. She gets defensive for like weeks in advance. And there's got to be a better way to do those, right? Like, why can't they give me like a nice like velvet robe to put on, turn on some music, light some candles, lie me down on some like feathery cushions and a silk sheet, fur-lined stirrups. At a minimum, they should warm up the duck lips. It's almost just like they're trying to torture us. We've got like dry wads of freaking cotton, cold mean duck lips, and thong underwear. Do not even get me started with thong underwear. Am I supposed to put like this piece of string over my vagina? It's like moving around all over the place. It gets caught in my crack. It cuts me in half. I'm like, no. I'm sorry. The vagina needs space. She needs to move around. She needs to breathe. She needs to talk. She needs comfort. She needs pleasure. Can't we make her something like that? How about some beautiful silk underwear with, I don't know, like a French tickler built in the front? Just imagine. Women would be coming all day. They'd be coming in the stairway, coming in the driveway, coming in the safe way. Just imagine all of those ecstatic, hot, juicy, turned on, not taking any more shit, orgasmic vaginas, yes! Hallelujah, vagina motherfuckers. If my vagina could talk, she would talk like me. She would talk about other vaginas. She would do vagina impressions. She would wear like Harry Winston diamonds. No clothing, just draped in diamonds. And my vagina wants. She wants. She wants to travel. She wants to get out more and see the world. She wants to read and learn and know more things. She wants sex. She loves sex. And she wants to go deeper. Yeah, she's hungry for depth. And she wants kindness and silence and freedom. And she wants gentle kisses and warm liquid and deep touch. She wants chocolate and beauty, truth. Sometimes she just wants to scream. She wants to be less angry. And she wants to come. And she wants to want. And she wants everything.
In hundreds of interviews with homeless women over the last 13 years, only one was not sexually abused as a little girl or raped as a young woman. For most of these women, home is a place they have fled, a scary place. The shelters are ironically the first places that they ever find safety, comfort, protection. This is a woman's story as she told it. What isn't in the story is that this woman met another woman in the shelter, and they fell in love. And through that love, they left the shelter system. This is dedicated to her memory. It's called Little Coochie Snorcher That Could.
Memory. December 1965, 5 years old. My mama tells me in a loud, scary, life-threatening voice to stop scratching my coochie snorcher. I become terrified that I've scratched myself down there. I do not touch myself again, even in the bath. I'm afraid of the water getting in and filling me up, so I explode. I put band-aids over my coochie snorcher to cover the hole. But they fall off in the water. I imagine a stopper, a bathtub plug up there to prevent things from entering me. I sleep with 3 pairs of happy heart-patterned cotton underpants underneath my snap-up pajamas. I still want to touch myself sometimes, but I don't. Memory. 7 years old. Edgar Montaigne, who's 10, gets angry at me and punches me with all his might between my legs. It feels like he breaks my entire self. I limp home. I can't pee. My mama asks me, "What's wrong with your coochie snorcher?" And when I tell her what Edgar did to me, she says to never let anyone touch myself down there again. I say, "He didn't touch it, Mama. He punched it." Memory. 9 years old. I play on the bed, bouncing and falling and impale my coochie snorcher on the bedpost. I make high-pitched screaming noises that come straight from my coochie snorcher's mouth. I get taken to the hospital, and they sew it up down there from where it's been torn apart. Memory. 10 years old. I'm at my father's house, and he's having a party upstairs. Everyone's drinking. I'm playing alone in the basement, and I'm trying on my new white cotton bra and underpants that my father's girlfriend gave me. Suddenly, my father's best friend, this big man Alfred, comes up from behind and pulls my new underpants down and sticks his big hard penis into my coochie snorcher. I scream, I kick, I try to fight it off, but he already gets it in. My father's there then, and he has a gun, and there's a loud, horrible noise, and there's blood all over Alfred and me. Lots of blood. Alfred is paralyzed for life, and my mama doesn't let me see my father for 7 years. Memory, 10 years old. My coochie snorcher is a bad place. It's a very bad place. It's a place of pain, of invasion, of punching, blood. It's a site for mishaps. It's a bad luck zone. I imagine a freeway between my legs, and I'm traveling far away from here. Memory, 13 years old. There's this gorgeous 24-year-old woman in our neighborhood, and I stare at her all the time. One day, she invites me into her car. She asks me if I like to kiss boys, and I say, I do not like that. And then she says she wants to show me something, and then she leans over and kisses me softly with her lips on my lips, and then she puts her tongue in my mouth. Wow. She asks me if I want to come over to her house, and then she kisses me again, and she tells me to relax, to feel it, to let our tongues feel it. She asks my mama if I can spend the night, and my mother is delighted that such a smart, successful woman has taken an interest in me. I'm scared, but I can't wait. Her apartment's fantastic. She's got it hooked up. It's the 70s. The beads, the mood lights, the fluffy pillows. I decide right there that I want to be a secretary like her when I grow up. She makes a vodka for herself and asks me what I want to drink. I say, the same as you're drinking. She says, your mama wouldn't like you drinking vodka. I say, she probably wouldn't like me kissing girls either. And the pretty lady makes me a drink. And then she dresses in this chocolate satin teddy. Man, she's beautiful. I say, you look great. She says, so do you. I say, but I'm only dressed in this white cotton bra and underpants. And then she dresses me in another satin teddy. It's lavender, like the first soft days of spring. The alcohol has gone to my head, and I'm loose and ready. Man, there is a picture over her bed of a naked black lady with a huge afro. Weird. Then she gently lays me down on the bed, and just our bodies rubbing against each other makes me come. I'm so hot, so wild. She says, your vagina, untouched by men, smells so nice, so fresh. Wish I could keep it that way forever. I get crazy wild. And then the phone rings, and of course it's my mama. I'm sure she knows. She catches me at everything. I'm breathing so heavy and I try to act normal when I get on the phone, and my mama, she asks me, what's wrong with you? Have you been running? I say, no, mama, exercising. Then she tells the beautiful secretary to make sure there's no boys around. And the lady tells her, trust me, there's no boys around here. Afterwards, the gorgeous lady teaches me everything about my coochie snorcher. She makes me play with myself in front of her, and she teaches me all the different ways to give myself pleasure. She tells me to always know how to give myself pleasure, so I'll never need to rely on a man. She's very thorough. In the morning, I'm worried I've become a butch because I'm so in love with her. She laughs, but I never see her again. I realized later that she was my surprising, unexpected, and politically incorrect salvation. She transformed my sorry-ass coochie snorcher and raised it into a kind of heaven.
What does your vagina smell like?
Earth. Wet garbage. God. Water. A brand new morning.
Death, sweet ginger, sweat.
It depends.
Musk. Me.
No smell, I've been told.
Pineapple. Chalice essence. Loma Picasso.
Earthy meat and musk. Cinnamon and cloves. Roses. Spicy, musky, jasmine, forest, deep, deep forest.
Damp moss, yummy candy, South Pacific.
Somewhere between fish and lilacs.
Peaches. The woods. Ripe fruit. Strawberry kiwi tea.
Heaven, vinegar and water. Light sweet liqueur, cheese.
Ocean. Sexy. A sponge.
The beginning.
My short skirt. It is not an invitation, a provocation, an indication that I want it, that I give it, or that I hook. My short skirt is not begging you. It's not begging for it. It does not want you to rip it off or pull it down from me.
My short skirt is not a legal reason for raping me. Though it has been before, it will not hold up in the new court. My short skirt, believe it or not, has nothing to do with you.
My short skirt is about discovering the power of my lower calves, about cool autumn air traveling up my inner thighs. about allowing everything I see, or pass, or feel to live inside. My short skirt is not proof that I'm stupid, or undecided, or malleable little girl.
My short skirt is my defiance. I will not let you make me afraid. My short skirt is not showing off. This is who I am before you told me to tone it down and cover it up. Get over it.
My short skirt is happiness. I can feel myself on the ground. I am here. I am hot. My short skirt is a liberation. It's a liberation flag in the women's army. I declare these streets, any streets, my vagina's country.
My short skirt is turquoise water with swimming colored fish. A summer festival in the starry dark sky. A bird calling, a train arriving in a foreign town. My short skirt is a wild spin, a full breath, a tango dip.
My short skirt is initiation, appreciation, excitation. But most importantly, my short skirt and everything underneath it is mine.
Mine.
Fucking mine.
A 6-year-old girl was asked, if your vagina got dressed up, what would it wear?
Red high tops and a Mets cap. Worn backwards.
If it could speak, what would it say?
It would say words that begin with V and T. Turtle and violin are examples.
What does your vagina remind you of?
A pretty dark peach. Or a diamond that I found in a treasure, and it's mine.
What's special about your vagina?
Somewhere deep inside, it has a really smart brain.
What does it smell like?
Snowflakes.
Sex workers have a rich, compelling, complex relationships with their vaginas. This particular woman blows my mind. She was a sex worker, but she only did sex work with women.
I love vaginas. I love women. I don't see these as separate things. Women pay me to dominate them, to excite them, to make them come. I did not start out this way. No, to the contrary, I was a lawyer. But sometime in my mid-30s, I became obsessed with making women happy. There were so many unfulfilled women. So many women with no access to their sexual happiness. It began as a mission of sorts. But then I got involved in it. I got good at it. Kind of brilliant. It was my art. I started getting paid for it. It was as if I had found my calling. I wore outrageous outfits to dominate women. Lace and silk and leather. And I used props. Whips, handcuffs, rope, dildos. There was nothing like this in tax law. There were no props, no excitement, and I hated those blue corporate suits. Although, I wear them now from time to time. And they serve quite nicely. Context is all. No props. No props in corporate law. No wetness. No dark, mysterious foreplay. No erect nipples. No delicious mouths. But most importantly, there was no At least not the kind I'm talking about. I realized that was the key. That was the thing that ultimately seduced me and got me addicted to making women happy. I got addicted to making all the women happy. When I was a little girl, I used to watch women make love in the movies, making strange orgasmic noises. I used to laugh. I got strangely hysterical. I couldn't believe that such big, loud, ungoverned sounds could come from women. I longed to moan. I would practice in front of my mirror with a tape recorder, moaning in various tones, various keys. But every time I played it back, it sounded fake. It was fake. It wasn't rooted in anything sexual, but in a desire to be sexual. But when I was 10, I had to pee really badly once on a road trip. It went on for almost an hour. And when I finally got to pee in that dirty little gas station bathroom, I was so excited. I moaned. I moaned as I peed. I couldn't believe it. Me moaning in a Texaco station in the middle of Louisiana. I realized moans were associated with putting things off, with not getting what you wanted right away. I realized moans were best when they caught you by surprise. They came out of this dark, mysterious part of you, speaking its own language. I realized moans were in fact that language. I became a moaner. Oof. It made most men anxious. Quite frankly, it terrified them. I was loud, and they couldn't concentrate on what they were doing. They lose focus. And then they lose everything. We couldn't make love in people's homes. The walls were too thin. I got a reputation in my building, and people would stare at me with contempt in the elevator. I started to feel bad about moaning. I got quiet, light. I made noise into a pillow. I learned to choke my moan. Hold it back like a sneeze. I started getting headaches and stress-related disorders. I was becoming hopeless when I discovered women. I discovered women loved my moan. But more importantly, I discovered how deeply excited I got when other women moaned. When I could make other women moan. I became obsessed. I made love to quiet women. And I found this place inside of them. And they shocked themselves in their moaning. I made love to moaners. And they discovered this deeper, more penetrating moan. Discovering the key, unlocking unlocking the vagina's mouth, unlocking that voice, that wild song. It was a kind of surgery, delicate science, finding the tempo, the exact location or home of the moan. That's what I called it. Sometimes I found it over a women's jeans. Sometimes I snuck up on it, off the record. Quietly disarming the surrounding alarms and moving in. Sometimes I used force, but not violent, oppressive force, more like dominating. I'm going to take you someplace. Lay back and enjoy the ride. Kind of force. Sometimes it was simply mundane. I found the moan before things even got started. While we were eating chicken or salad. Right there, real casual with my fingers. Here it is. Like that. Real simple. Sometimes I use props. I love props. Sometimes I made a woman find her own moan, right there, in front of me. I waited, stuck it out, until she opened herself up. I wasn't fooled by the more minor, obvious moans, no. I pushed further until she found her power moan. Oh, the power of the moans. There's the clip moan. The vaginal moan. Oh. The combo clip vaginal moan. The almost moan. The right on it moan. Elegant moan. The gray slick moan. Oh yeah. The wasp moan. The Jewish moan. No! The mountaintop moan. The baby moan. The doggy moan. The southern moan. The uninhibited, militant, bisexual moan. The machine gun moan. The tortured Zen moan. The diva moan. And finally, the triple surprise orgasm moan.
This piece was performed for some time without any mention of birth. This is a bizarre omission. But then again, a male journalist asked, what's the connection? Eve Ensler was present for the birth of her granddaughter. She was in awe of vaginas then, and she's in worship of vaginas now. This is for Eve.
I was there when her vagina opened. We were all there. Her mother, her husband, and I, and the nurse from the Ukraine with her whole hand up there in her vagina, feeling and turning with her white rubber glove while talking to us casually, like she was turning a loaded faucet. I was there when the contractions made her crawl on all fours, made unfamiliar moans leak from her pores, and still there after hours when suddenly she just screamed, wild, her arms striking at the electric air. I was there when her vagina changed from a shy sexual hole to an archaeological tunnel, a sacred vessel, a Venetian canal, a deep well, with a tiny child stuck inside waiting to be rescued. I saw the colors of her vagina. They changed. Saw the bruised, broken blue, the blistering tomato red, the gray pink, the dark, the blood around the edges, perspiration, the yellow-white liquid, the shit, the clots, pushing out all holes, pushing harder and harder, and saw there, through the hole, the baby's head. Scratches of black hair. Just there, behind the bone. A distant memory. While the nurse from the Ukraine kept turning and turning her slippery hand. I was there when each of us, her mother and I, grabbed a leg and spread her wide, pushing with all of our strength, pushing, while her husband sternly counted 1, 2, 3. We looked into her then. We couldn't get our eyes out of that place. We forget about the vagina. All of us. What else could inspire our lack of awe, our lack of wonder? I was there when the doctor reached in with Alice in Wonderland-like spoons and turned her vagina into a wide operatic mouth, singing with all its strength. First the baby's head, then the gray flopping arm, then the fast-swimming body swimming into her hands. I was there when I just turned to her and faced her vagina. I just stood and let myself look at her. All spread, completely exposed. Mutilated, swollen, torn, bleeding all over the doctor's hands, while he was calmly sewing her there. I stood there, and her vagina became a wide, red, pulsating heart.
The heart is capable of sacrifice. So is the vagina.
The heart is able to forgive and repair. It can change its shape to let us in, and it can expand to let us out. So can the vagina.
It aches for us. It spreads for us. It dies for us. It bleeds and bleeds and bleeds us into this difficult and wondrous life. I was there in the room. I remember.